welcome. It's lovely to have your company. Thank you for joining me for this behind the scenes walkthrough of the Permaculture Educators Complete Collection. Before I start this session, just acknowledging that I'm calling in from the unceded lands of the Gubbi Gubbi and pay my respects to elders past and present, and would love to invite you to drop in the chat if you feel like doing that, where it is that you're calling in from. In this session, what my intention is to walk you through what the Permaculture Educators Complete Collection is all about and to answer any questions that you have about this program. So I have a few slides to share with you just to give you a bit of a look inside and give you a bit of a background of what it is, why I do it, how you can interact with it, what are all the different pieces of it, because there's a lot of moving parts in this. And essentially, this Educators Collection is like a compilation of all the bits that I have created over the years to try and support people to be permaculture designers, educators, leaders, communicators, really the whole collection. Because I don't know about you, but I kind of feel like we need to amplify what we're doing in the world right now. So we need to amplify the good work. And being a permaculture educator and designer and communicator and showing up in these really positive ways is so, so needed. So let me dive in through the slides, and please feel free to open. I have the chat in front of me. So if you have any questions at all as I'm going through, please just drop it in there, or even just open your mic and ask me a question. I want this to be really fluid and useful for you. So please use that chat function. And then once I finish the sort of the walkthrough, I'll turn off my presentation. We can come back into the whole room and feel free again to ask me anything you like. You're welcome to turn your video off if you don't want to be seen, or I love seeing your faces too, so feel free to stay there. It's up to you how you'd like to interact in this. So thank you again for being here. So I just wanted to just give a little bit of a introduction to say that permaculture is my life. It's been my life since, I don't know, I can't remember my life without permaculture. I've traveled to just about every continent, being engaged in permaculture projects, learning from traditional communities, teaching permaculture projects. I've been living for over a quarter of a century now, can't believe that, in a permaculture eco-village in southeast Queensland. And I've always got dirt under my fingernails, and it's something that I absolutely love. And I do it, as I said before, because I really feel this sense that this is what makes it possible to lead the kind of change we want to see in the world. And in all the research that I've done around the world, I keep coming back to this. And also I interview lots of different leaders around the world about what's possible. And they keep coming back to saying, gosh, if we want to do something in the world that is really positive to address climate change, social injustice, like all the different things that we're hearing in the polycrisis, are saying, well, we need to be doing something that looks far more like permaculture. And so that's, I just keep coming back around and around to that. Now, it's been a long time since I've been doing something that looked like permaculture, pretty much since I was a kid. This is me when I was very young. And I grew up in a house where we grew food, we planted for the wildlife, we built a house, we managed the airflow through the house. So I grew up knowing how to do this. And this is my dad. He's now 88. And he's the one with the big fuzzy sideburn. So it puts it really firmly in the early 1970s, this photo. And so he's in his late 80s now. And I go back down and help him and mum. They're both still alive, still living in this house. But just recently, I don't know, I hope you're all okay, because there's been so many fires around and there's floods in different places. So I was just down with them, helping them, do gutters and gardens and things. And this big fire started coming towards their place. And it was quite terrifying. So, really it brings me back to thinking too about how permaculture it began as a response to disasters in the 1970s. To the oil shocks, and in particular to bushfires that were raging through Hobart. And that's what actually started it. And as I was wandering streets looking for neighbours, I came across a guy a friend of ours down the street who has a permaculture garden too, and he was saying, "I'm just out here watering, and I'm pretty sure that if anything comes over, my garden is so hydrated that we'll be fine." And so permaculture helps us, one, find community, to be resilient, as well as, create the conditions for living healthily and well. And just to say too that I spend a lot of time sharing stories, lessons, ideas with people around the world who are leading ecological thinkers, organic gardeners, seed savers, Indigenous leaders, and really trying to bring this richness. It will keep adding richness into what permaculture is and to keep expanding the field. And I encourage everyone here to actually do that too. Like, what is your world, and how does permaculture meet your world, and how can you expand the field again? And I also, just as well as having lots of elders and teachers around the world, I also think one of the greatest teachers in my life has been the Kangaroos Mothers Club that lives in the garden outside here, and the river. That the river determines, the health of the river determines the design and the thinking of how we live in place. And then the amount of wildlife and diversity that comes through our gardens. And that includes, the tiny ones and turtles. There's a little eastern, what is he? He's a Eastern Mary River turtle, quite endangered. And every time that it's going to be a super, super rainy time, he ends up at my back door, or she actually, I should say, she ends up at my back door and lays her eggs there. I know now that when she comes up, it's going to be a wet season. And so the longer you spend in place, the longer you get to know what's going on. You read the landscape. And like, I've only been there for just over 25 years. Just imagine if you've been in this place for 60,000 years, how much embedded knowledge you have. So I think the conversations with one another, the conversations with First Nations peoples. So the garden is a constant place of learning. And so as permaculture design, what we teach is not that you're going to be creating a design and that's it, done. It's about engaging in a practice of learning, engaging in a practice of noticing, of being part of the landscape, of being part of the web of life, and to be constantly interacting. So, my family is, as my children have grown up, they've taught me different perspectives as well. I've travelled the world, the different perspectives, the garden, different gardens in different places. And so there's always something to learn. And it's such a wonderful framework, permaculture, because it gives you a language to be able to communicate and to be able to interact in a way that you can do it wherever you are in the world. And so this is why we have this incredible myceliating network of permaculture people everywhere. So what I wanted to share with you today in particular was what's going on here. And this is what I said I'd walk you through. I'm just trying to move my face out of the way. It's right in the middle for me, which is the Permaculture Educators Complete Collection. So what this is it's 5 core programs. So it has the Permaculture Teacher Certificate, Design Certificate, and a number of other courses. And I want to just share with you what those different ones are. So also just to say that it's the last week to join this week. I've put together this bundle. It's been open all of January. So until January the 31st, the registration is open on this. So the core part of it is to these online international permaculture programs. So there's a permaculture design course that's at the heart of it, as well as a permaculture teacher certificate course. Now, a lot of people say to me, "Oh, well, I've already done a permaculture design course. I just want the teaching bit and the leading bit and the sharing bit and all of that." What I'd like to suggest is that actually the permaculture design course, when you're taking it in the midst of a teacher's lens, every single piece that you look at in the design course, when you might have done it the first time, you might have been looking at it from a designer lens, or what can I get happening in my place? When you put a permaculture educator's lens on, you think, how might I be able to share this with other people? How might this actually be able to make sense to people in my place, in the community of people that I want to work with? And also it gives you sort of a deeper rigor into it, because we have a lot of time and space available for you to do. So these are the two core programs. You come out with a design a certificate and a teacher certificate. And there's a couple of bonus programs, which I'll mention in a minute, which are the Share Permaculture and Incredible Edible Garden. So those two courses are only available in this collection. After the end of January, they will only be available to people who sign up now. Also, as part of this collection too is a free, so everything that I've mentioned before is lifetime access. Once you get in, you have it for as long as you need it. And you can put it aside and come back to it later as well. And so that's absolutely fine. But there's also this amazing international learning community that we've got happening within it. And there's a free year's membership to this. And I'll explain in a bit why this is a membership you'll see, I hope. So inside the Permaculture Educators program, there's so many different dimensions that you'll explore, from the foundations of what is permaculture, the principles, the ethics, how to do the design, it's taking you step by step with that, really exploring the multiple dimensions from urban permaculture to broad scale permaculture and into the home as well. And then looking beyond our own spaces into community permaculture, social permaculture, and looking at what are the kind of things you can do with community gardens, eco-villages, cooperatives, all the different sorts of things that we do together. And then, part of that as well is, well, how do we activate a local permaculture economy? How can we create livelihoods doing this? And then teach it, which is actually a really core part of permaculture livelihood if you're wanting to create one. And then in order to support all of that, we also talk about, well, what are the bits of how you create a permaculture business? This is the only work that I have ever done in my entire life. And I've played with so many different things, from in-person programs to community programs to programs in universities to international retreats to school camps, kids programs, online courses. Like, permaculture education is just in my elbows and my knees. And so how to craft a permaculture business that meets what you're doing and all of your experience and whatever profession you're coming from, how you can apply a lens to that. These are the sorts of things we talk about inside the course and also inside Hive. So I just wanted to articulate 4 key goals of what, if these align with what you're looking for, this is probably something that's going to make sense to you. So the first is that to design a place of your choice. Now, this could be your own garden, it could be a school garden, it could be a community garden, it could be in a workplace, it could be a verge garden, it could be anything. We've had people designing rooftop gardens in New York to farms in the middle of America. So you choose what you'd like to design, and then we provide the framework that helps you do that design. The second goal is to actually design a unique permaculture education program. And what I mean by that is that I don't want to just go, okay, here's a cookie cutter thing. If you could go out and teach a PDC and an intro and do it like this. However, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. And it's actually a good place to start. And we do give you all of the pieces that you would need to do that. But I also really encourage and support and create the space for people to design their own really unique permaculture program. That's why, often people say, oh, but, there's too many permaculture teachers. No, like every single neighborhood, every single profession, every single community needs a whole range of different kind of people who are applying permaculture thinking into the education programs that they're offering. So just for example, I was chatting to someone the other day who is in social work in the university system, and he's really interested in designing permaculture courses that align with climate change, which are taught to the university students. I also spoke to a nurse the other day, and she's really interested in creating a program. So she's a nurse, been a nurse for 25 years, and she really wants to create a program that is particularly caring for the carers. She said that her permaculture garden is one of the most amazing healing spaces for her, and she recognises the need for supporting other people to create healing spaces, restorative spaces. So she wants to design and teach to support carers. And there's other people who want to design school garden programs. So again, it's whatever profession. So it's not like, okay, we're going to do permaculture education and this is separate from your life, they're intertwined. How can you bring all of you and apply a lens and design something that's going to meet your needs? So the goal 3 then is to also think about, how you could design a permaculture education livelihood. Now, that could be something that you make money from on a part-time basis or a full-time basis, or perhaps you're not even interested in making money from it, but you're wanting to create a set of education programs for a local school garden or for a local community garden. And so really looking at how to set it up in a substantial way that's going to be self-supporting. And yes, and also, like I said before, how you can create like a fresh perspective on your current profession. And then the 4th goal is really about being part of a group larger than yourself. So, how do you lean into and find a group of people who are really interested in talking about this stuff, who are researching it actively, who would love to research something with you, to give you feedback on ideas, to cheer you along. And so this is part of what if that's something that's helpful, then you'll also find that here. But I did want to say too, you can take all the Permaculture Educators complete collection without talking to anyone. You can just self-do it, or you can lean in and be part of conversations every day. And that's completely up to you how you want to manage that. So there's 26 modules which are related to the Permaculture Design Certificate, because we really go deep into all the different parts, from the thinking of it, the design parts, and all those other things that I showed in those pictures before. There's 13 core modules that are focused on the teaching certificate. So once you've finished the design, then you start to think, okay, what is the structure of my education program? And then you map that all out. And then there's the business modules, then the future planning modules, and the community. So this is what we call the Permaculture Educators program. So it's super flexible, meaning that you could sign up today, but then maybe not start for a month because you're not ready. Or you could get going now, you've got some time, keep going, and then you'll hit a spot in the middle of the year or something, think, I really need, you're going on a trip, or, someone in your family needs care. You can just put it down and come back when you want to. So it's design. I'm a mother. I have a family, I have elderly parents, I have a garden, I run a charity. There's so many different things that I do. And I recognize that it's really hard to be having to stay to one thing consistently like that. I really want to make space where we can come and do it. And when it's possible, we do it. When it's not possible, we don't feel stressed about it. No one needs more stress in their life. So that's also why it's deadline free. Take as long as you want to do the projects. And, in 2 years' time, if you come back to me and say, I'm ready to do the teacher's part of the course, you're very welcome. Just come on back in and just start afresh. You might even want to go back to the start and look at it again and think, okay, I need to refresh, and then you can move on again from there. So there's no deadlines and no expiry. So as long as you want it, you have it. So we have a body of work that's in the course, and we have lots of live sessions that happen, which is optional, and you can come and pick and choose from those. If, however, there's sessions that you're not seeing in there that you'd really like to explore, you can suggest them, and we will find a way to host something that attends to that particular interest. Or if you have something that you're really working on that you feel would be a good contribution, we love it when people who are members of this program come and contribute and host sessions as well. So I'm here to sort of help make all of those different things possible, and I'm at every single session. Also, every single one of those live sessions that we've done ever since the beginning of the course are all archived in categories of what they are, with descriptions. So each year it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so you have that as this sort of body of work that you can dive into as well, if you like. So this is what it looks like once you, so it's actually underneath that. You scroll down. I couldn't fit it all on the one page. So there's the yellow ones are the permaculture design course, the orange ones are the teacher's course, then you've got the business ones, and then the reflection modules. So when you get in, you think, okay, one module will become visible each week. So I don't want to overwhelm you all in one go. So we just one module gets added a week, and each module takes about, 2 to 3 hours. If you don't want to do it this week and leave it till next week, also that's fine. It's not going to affect anything. But what you can see here, so if you just sign up, you'll get module one available and you can click view, open it up, and you'll see all the content inside that. And as you press complete, you can see this little orange line here. It just keeps getting longer. So you can kind of take a broad view and say, oh, okay, I've done that bit, done with that bit, or I've missed a bit of that one, and you can go back in. So it just helps you to keep track of things. So inside the modules themselves, they're like completely multimedia modules. There are different sorts of resources available. So there's presentations, there are photographs, illustrations, diagrams, examples, case studies. There's text parts, there's downloadable bits, there's a forum. So there's so much that's as part of this, and it's all kept together in these different lessons across the top. And when you say down the bottom of this page would be a like complete module, and then it would put a little tick in that, and so you know you've done that one. Each module too comes with actions and references. So in the first module, it's very simple actions that's to join Hive, and I give you the instructions on how to do that in the module, and also to complete the first worksheet. And so each module of all the 44 modules, there's actions. So it's really helps to guide you through, all right, what do I need to do now? How do I take the next step? It's all there for you. And if you ever need any help, there's like contacts all over the place. And I'll tell you a bit more about that later too. And also there's a 7-day, if you sign up and then you decide you don't want to do it anymore, no questions asked. We'll just refund you. So that's absolutely fine as well. So within the module, there's also lots of space for chat. So down below, you'll find where people have dropped in photos of what they're doing that relate to that action, or comments or questions. So there's lots of different interactive spaces. The worksheets, the first 6 modules have worksheets, and by this, worksheet sounds really kind of hard work, but it's not. It's basically what it is these are really helping us to get the basis of what it is that we're wanting to work towards. So, where are we wanting design? How do the principles apply to us? What are the kind of reasons why we're doing permaculture? What motivates us to do it? So all these background questions that once then we get to the design piece, we're ready. We've done a lot of the thinking. We don't just sort of land at design. There's a whole lot of bits before. So I've spent decades trying to craft a kind of education program that I think works, and then trying to shape it into something that is as simple as possible to step you through. There's also lots of music, and I've gathered lots of really interesting films and resources, and they're all linked. So it's kind of like this. You can do a module, say like it was the soils module, and you go, oh, I know a lot about soils, I'll just skip through it. But if you're new to soils and you want to dive deeper, there are links and resources and extra stuff that you can go deeper in. And perhaps your first run through, you might just do the cursory run through. But then when you get to actually planning your teaching, you might go, I actually need to go back into the soils module to look at that, so then I can map out the kind of course that I want to run and get the content. So that's why I have it as a lifetime as well, because once you're out there teaching, you think, oh gosh, what was that I needed to teach about that? You have it there at your fingertips. So in order to get your certificates, there's 3 projects for each certificate. So with your for the permaculture design certificate, that's the first 3 ones. So site analysis, so really learning how to notice what's happening on your site, in the neighborhood, in the bioregion, what happened before that's influencing what's going on now, looking at, flows of energy and water and wind and what's going on in the soil and what structures. So I have this booklet here, which is the cover of it. It's 14 pages of like checklists and things that you could look at. Now, of course, some places are not going to need all of that stuff, but I put it there because perhaps as a designer, you might find that you go out somewhere and you need that checklist. So the assessment booklet doubles as your checklist for being a designer and an educator. So I really want to sort of give you all the pieces so that you have it there. So site analysis, we spend a lot of time there because the better that you know a site and a place and a community, it's not just a site, it's also your needs analysis and a cultural analysis. The better you know a place, the better your designs are going to be. My background's in landscape architecture and environmental planning and design. And, through landscape architecture school, we spend this is one of the key things that I learnt there. And it's only been reinforced through my permaculture journey ever since. So then we go into a small design because perhaps you're not designed before and you just want a bit of practice. So that's why we do the small zone one design. You get the pattern of thinking about how do I design, how does it work, before you then look at the whole site. And then you choose the whole site. You may have a big farm and you decide, I just want to do a small part, or you might think, right, I'm going to do the whole thing. And you might do more detailed bits closer in and broader scale design. So it's entirely up to you, and we'll support you through that process. And then to do your teacher certificate, the first part is to design your education program. So map out what's going to be in it, who's it for, where's it going to be, and looking at the curriculum and the structure. And so we spend a lot of time exploring what that could be. And then you actually go out and start teaching it. So you teach a segment of it. You might take a module of it or one part, the first part, and you go out and teach it. And then you reflect and review on that, which is the third part. So being a reflective practitioner. So really learning about how to design and implement and iterate continuously. So designing your site, designing your program. So by the time you finish, you've got to design and you started teaching. That's the point. This is a really, people often say, oh, but online courses aren't very practical. This is entirely practical. You are going out and going to be doing so much part of this. And there's extraordinary things that are happening in this community. And I'm sure that you are thinking about doing as well. And some of these people you may notice are either artists or architects. You can kind of see from the drawings, but some people are not. And we have drawing classes that are part of the course as well. So you can kind of see this bottom one here. She came to the drawing class and then learned how to do that as part of that. The person here at the top, an architect, obviously very skilled at doing all that drawing beforehand. And he wanted to flip his practice and learn how to do the design to design architecture from a permaculture way, and then started to go into universities. That was his design, his own place, and then he took that learning and into the university to teach master's students in architecture how to think about it from a permaculture perspective. And so that's the one in the middle was a group of people who were volunteering at Hans Farm, Happy Farm, who wanted to create a living learning centre that was also their food garden that brought all the food back into the retreat centre. So they did it as a group. Other people would like small scale rural ones or detailed designs of urban yards. And so it doesn't matter whether you have no drawings background at all. We sort of start from scratch and we assume that you don't know anything. But if you have, go right ahead and keep exploring ideas. What I did want to say, and you can probably tell from these pictures, is that we really just encourage you to pick up a pencil. You don't have to learn any apps to do this. It's just you and the paper and the pen and the place and your imagination and what can come from that. And I really do believe that those first conceptual designs really make a whole lot of sense far more when we just sit there and we're doing the sketching, the drawing. They don't have to be beautiful. They just are really a place for you to play. If you want to in the future go out and learn how to do design on the computer, or you want to get your design onto a computer, that's another thing. But let's start from actually learning how to design. So then if you're in the field anywhere and you've got a pen and a paper, you don't feel like you're constrained. You can start sketching out. And actual fact, some of the earliest consulting work that I did, which was both design and education simultaneously, was doing walkabouts with people. I would go to their place and I would do designs, and we'd sort of sketches as we went, like really rough sketches, and we would get a sense of what could be possible. And often that's all that people wanted. And so I had this service that I offered. So anyways, throughout the whole program too, I sort of we discuss lots of different possibilities of how you can create a livelihood doing this. Now, one of the things that I wanted to really just flesh out a bit too was what's in the hive, because this to me is one of the core parts of the program, because this is where the regular iterations happen and the gatherings happen. So each month I host a lot of different things. So once you're inside, you can see what events there are. There's different sorts of chat. There's hubs for the different courses. But this is the main hub for finding our live sessions. So each month we have a project studio, and this is where members of the group who are at the stage of presenting something will come in and share a design or an education program. So you get to see and hear what's going on around the world and hear amazing ideas. Like, I could not possibly imagine myself all the amazing ideas that come out of this. And then we have a chance to get direct feedback. As a participant, you're getting to cherry pick ideas, you're getting to uplift the people who are in the group, and you're also learning how to ask good questions. So if you're thinking about being a design educator, you also get the chance to think how you might show up in that role. So everything has multiple purposes, which is very permacultural. We have quarterly gatherings for the Ethos Foundation. So I also host something called the Ethos Foundation, which is a registered permaculture charity. And basically what we do is we gather support from around the world, and we send it 100% to people doing living learning centres and classes in refugee settlements, mostly in East Africa. And there's other places as well, but that seems to be the main place where. So all those programs are designed and led by local people there, and we just find a way to support them. And there's a global interaction that happens there. And we have drop-in sessions. So I just host it, like, come in if you've got a question or you just want to chat. Just very informal. And then also forums. So the forums are where there might be a tutorial. Someone might bring in, like the architect guy, for example. Let's take him. He might come in and he would share about permaculture and architecture. Someone might come in and talk about permaculture and social work. Someone might come into permaculture and working with children. And so there's so many people doing so many amazing things. It's really an invitation for you, if you're there, or anyone in the community, to come in and share about the work that you're doing. And we all learn from that. And then just a Q&A space in that. So these are really interactive, generative spaces. And the way that it's set up in that Hive platform is that you can very easily RSVP and then pop them straight into your calendar, and it populates your calendar for you. So you get automatic reminders. The way it works is that it shows in your time zone. So you don't have to worry about you're in a different part of the world. It'll show you exactly what time, and I range things from place to place. So sometimes it might not be suitable for you. Say if you're in the States or you're in Europe, I kind of swap from, different hemispheres. In there too, so there's a one click to join the Zoom. You can RSVP and add it to your calendar. You can start to ask questions and chat about it. So the project studio is one of those projects where we get to see into the work, and they get to explain what's going on, how they did it. People ask them questions. Also, what kind of education programs are being led and how. So this is Yule, who created a permaculture book. And so she talked about how she went from not feeling confident as a teacher to leaning into her love of illustration, and how she created a book of permaculture illustrations for kids, and then started taking that to the libraries, and then the parents got interested, and then she started teaching to them. So, like working through that sort of insecurity and like, oh, I'm not a teacher, I don't know how I could do it, but finding a way through finding the point where you feel really yourself and authentically you. So the forums, I've explained these ones already. So these are the sessions where people get to share their projects and take a deep dive into, maybe Yule, that's showing how she does her illustrations, what kind of messages she shares through that, and how she got her work in the libraries, and how she got her book publishing deal. And then the Ethos Foundation meetups, where we get to meet up with the key players who are doing the work in each of those places. So there's a number of sort of what we call champions in each of the places who have access to internet, who can then report back what's going on and can help to, can answer any questions that any of the supporters have. How can we access Yule's book? I can find a way and send you a link to that. I'm assuming that's Wendy. Yeah. So, it really is a global knowledge exchange between all different countries and all different places. And what we learn from each other is extraordinary. And how it shifts our perception and what we know is possible is extraordinary as well. And every day I open up the Hive and all my emails and see what's happening. And my heart just bursts with just the possibilities that are there. So these drop-in sessions too, like I really have dedicated to make a space where I'm here and available to answer any questions that you have. There's no question that's off limits, And if I can't answer it, I'll try and find you someone who can answer it, or we'll find a session, we'll create a session where we bring in someone who can kind of lead something on that. I don't profess to be an expert at everything. I'm just a very curious person who've lived my life in this way and am sharing as much as I possibly can. So everything that ever happens, as I said, these replays are available, and these are all available through that Hive network as well. All you do is you go to the past tab, and anything that's ever been done, you'll find here in Hive. So this is huge. And then there's many more people have done the course, but at the moment there's over 600 people who are in Hive, and so you'll get to meet them here in the Hive. So you can click on any of those people and will pop up with their profile, any of their links or projects or work that they're doing or anything. So that's all in there. You'll be able to find members near you. You can also create chats if you want to say, I'd just like to have a chat with these few people and create like a study buddy group. You can go into the chats and click on those people and then start just a little chat in there. So it's so flexible, and it really does create space for us to do so much. Yeah. And so, you can follow people, you can chat with them, you can find out all about them. And so as soon as you come in, I encourage you to just put everything that you can about you up there that you're willing to share. You can keep adding to it later as well as you go. The other thing about this is it's also on your mobile. So you can access all of these events, all of the chat, all of everything on your mobile and get notifications there. So it really makes it flexible. If you're out and about somewhere and think, that event's happening and I'm not near my computer, you can just do it on your phone. So that's pretty easy. Also, there's help. Like any time that you need to ask a question, you can either ask in Hive, like there's a space to ask a question. If you look here, Michelle asked recently, I'm interested in starting or hosting a study circle around balcony community garden. So she's wanting to find a group of people within Hive who are interested in doing that. So she popped that question in there. So you can ask in Hive. I'm also in Hive every day, and I will see your questions and I'll respond as well. There's a resources help portal, like in the main course that I showed you through before. And also, I have a weekly bulletin that goes out. So every week I send an email out to you that shows you this is what's coming up next week. These are some resources that I might have found recently. Here's a podcast that I've just recorded. You might like to listen to that. Or here's something else that someone else has created that I think you might be interested in. And so this keeps it alive. So there's the core content, which stays as it is, and you work through that. There's the Hive, which is all the live events, and then there's the weekly updates. So you can, if you need help, you can also just hit reply to the weekly bulletin saying, I got really stuck on this, can you help me? And that's there. Yeah. And so there's, so many people have said over times how important it is just to have a space where you can focus on this, like where we can learn from each other and start and just actually take the time to think this through. Like, I think that's one of the things. Everything's so rushed and we're so busy doing so many things. Just creating the space in our lives to focus on this, to connect around it, to do the research, to follow our curiosities. I think that is one of the key things too. It's like creating the spaciousness for that. So just to share a bit more about the different bonuses that are part of the complete collection at the moment. So Share Permaculture is a very special program that I designed to really help you amplify your voice. I really do believe that the world needs to hear more permaculture stories, however big or small they are, wherever they are in the world. And I really believe that this is part two of how to support your permaculture enterprise or idea or project. And so how you can show up and be part of this positive change in the world is by learning how to share it better. So within this program, there are 12 workshops, and these include everything from how to do YouTube to how to do podcasting, what kind of social media tools to communicate your work out, how do you do graphic design easily to be able to design, flyers or posters or websites. How do you share your story? How do you craft a narrative to find your authentic voice and to communicate who you are, what you do? And then, creating your brand from that to something that really reflects who you are. So it has a consistent look. Also, my cousin is an extraordinary PR person in an ethical way. So she talks about how to get your project and your voice into traditional media. And another woman who's a journalist comes in and talks about how to actually construct your writing, how to get that started. We do website design. What are the key elements of having a good website? How do you do a blog? Now, all of and running online events and a communication strategy. There's so much in this. And why I focus on this, I said it before, but it really does help you to amplify your voice. And just to give you an idea, so my YouTube channel that I started maybe, what was that, 2016, so 10 years ago, it's been watched for over 108 years worth of time. I just find that absolutely mind-boggling, that I can tell a little story in my garden about something that's happening, about what I love about the passion fruit, and what I learned about it, and sharing something about that, and it can go around the world. And so your education, your voice, your perspective, your ideas can go around the world on this. And so, and it's there's certain things to do. And so I've done deep dives onto how to do all this stuff. And that's what I want to share with you through this. And also the podcast. So I have a podcast that's been downloaded over 250,000 times. Again, absolutely mind-boggling. So it's possible to do all this stuff. And the blog that I created just before I started YouTubing, I think has 10 million downloads. I mean, some people say, oh, I don't want to be part of social media. And I get that. I totally get that. But how do we get this out into the world? How do we use these tools for good? How do we use these tools to spread out the kind of ideas that need to be out in the world? So that's what share permaculture is all about, how we share it. And so, as part of that, I've been able to reach so many different places, and I really want to help to show you how to do that too. Another bonus is the Incredible Edible Garden. I know many of you might have already been in this. This has been one of our most popular courses ever, but now it's only available as part of this program. And it's really about how do you learn to create this thriving permaculture food garden at home? So it's really about the gardening parts, the introduction to permaculture gardening. And there's 6 core modules, but then with 3 bonus modules. And this is what the modules are. So creating superb soils, making your garden, growing abundant food, looking at food forests, superfood gardens, medicinal gardens, beauty gardens, tea gardens, and then how do we use all that? So that's what the Incredible Edible Garden is. And again, just the amount of people who've said that's been so useful in transforming how they've been able to think about growing food simply. And people send me pictures all the time about, oh, I've started a no-dig garden over here, or look at this school and we've got worm towers in all the gardens in the school. All the classrooms bring their food scraps and pop them into the worm towers. And so, it's really great stuff. Also, why I've included this is because I think it's really useful to see the different techniques and ideas that then you can weave into your education programs and know, some basic strategies that you can take out and share. Another bonus is a permaculture film collection. Now, you may or may not know that I've been running Permaculture Film Club for many years now, and I've put together a collection of the key films that we share. And any of the ones that are the freely accessible ones, I've made it clear. And then there's some that you might need to either buy through either through different agencies, and that I put those there too, because they're absolutely fabulous. So that That is one resource. Another resource is like the top master classes that I've ever done over the last 10 years in a one collection. So to make it easier, like these are all the key extra classes you can find. Also, a 4-part localization series with the extraordinary Helena Norberg Hodge, who has been a friend of mine since, gosh, the early 1990s when I volunteered with her in Ladakh. She just turned 80. And her voice on localization and relocalization is extraordinary. And we share her films as well through this. But this is a conversation series with her. We talk through 4 dimensions of localization as it relates to permaculture. And then also extra resources available to, perhaps you could use these as part of a study circle or to activate a local community. And then within a Festival of Wild Ideas and other conversations, I've had a chance to interview some amazing minds who really enhance and enrich the world of permaculture. So I've put a collection of those together. So you can just look through and think, oh, yes, I'd like to listen to that person today. And you can either watch it as a video or listen to it on audio. Also, I've made arrangements with a number of different permaculture book and magazine groups, so you get in the course 10 to 25% off depending on which group it is, those books and magazines. And then another bonus, but this one's already full, so I'm sorry about that, but there was one-to-one mentoring. So the first 5 people who signed up were able to access that. So we're going to walk through their particular projects, and this one-to-one mentoring is going to be available as a separate program later in the year. So if that's something of interest too, I'll definitely let you all know about that. So just in summary, so as part of all of that collection, there's the design certificate, teacher certificate, the Hive, share permaculture, the incredible edible garden, the bonus business modules, as well as those extra bonuses and the one-to-one, but that one's finished now. So that adds up to something like $6,500. So it's $2,997. And that is available, this bundle, until the end of January. The couple of payment options, either upfront and get full access or pay over 3 months. And if you need to, there is a 6-month payment option. And if you're calling in, and I see lots of friends here from the Global South, then get in touch with me about our scholarship program. So a number of people from villages and refugee communities and economies that are very vastly different from Australia or the States or Europe, please get in touch with me. As well, too, if you happen to have a young person in your life, could be your child, a grandchild, a niece, a nephew, a close friend, they are welcome to join with you for free. So if they're under 18, and I generally recommend above 12, however, we've had some pretty amazing people younger than that work through the permaculture design course and the permaculture teachers course with their parents and graduate with their own certificates. They can, so all you need to do when you sign up is tell me their email, if you, and their name, if they want to have their own access portal, and then you can, they can work through it at their own pace. So, yeah, I mean, I just love permaculture. It's just such a positive and practical way of designing and thinking and living and working and gardening with such kindness and abundance and care. And so I really invite you to come and be part of this with me. And I know some of you already are, so welcome and hello, and fabulous that you're here. So if you have a phone, you know how to do these QR codes now, I'm sure. You just point your phone at it and with your camera on, and it will open up the website where you can find all the details, even more than what I've just shared with you about the program, with a full list of modules and everything else. If you can't use the QR code, this is it, Permaculture Education Institute.org, Permaculture Educators Program. That's the website. If you'd like to email me with any questions, it's just morag@permacultureeducationinstitute.org. And if you want to come and have a chat with me just one-on-one to talk it through and see whether it's going to meet your needs or whatever, that bit.ly /Morag chat will take you straight to the spot to find a time that works for you to come and have a chat. But please do that before the end of January if you're interested in this program, because like I said, that's all going to close by then. All right, I'm going to stop my share screen. There we are. And just would love to invite anyone who'd like to ask any questions about anything that I've just talked about or anything else that you brought with you that you'd like to know about. And so feel free to either use this raise hand down below. You can see raise hand feature. So you can pop that up and I can bring you in, or just type me a question in the chat as well. If you don't have any questions and you don't feel like asking them here, like I said, you're very welcome to. I'm just going to drop in the chat my email so you can. But you've received emails from me to be here. So if you just respond to any of those, you will get me. And you will get me. I always answer all of my emails myself. So Permaculture Education Institute.org. All right. Curious about your choice to release only one module a week. Oh, okay. All right. So because it's such a big resource, the one module a week is designed to not overwhelm people and to encourage you to go sort of step by step. There's a tendency sometimes to want to sort of jump from here to here and you sort of lose the flow and lose how to make your way through that program. However, having said that, if you've already done a permaculture design course or you want to move through it more quickly, just ask and I can go into the back end of the course and just kind of speed it up a bit for you. So that's okay. Yep. I hope that answered your question. Just ask. Yeah. Does anyone have any other questions? Hi, Spare. How are you?
Hello, I am good, thank you, and welcome back to the 1990s. I knew you at Schumacher College. Anyway,
Oh my
um,
gosh.
yes, I thought let me just say, otherwise you might be thinking, where do I know her from? I have a question about the stop-start of the program. I'm understanding that one doesn't have to necessarily start immediately on the 1st of February. And you can stop and start because I'm interested for somebody who's younger and who probably would, they need to move into something new in a few months' time.
Yep.
So is there a start by date? In other words, you must begin.
No.
Okay, so you could, in other words, it would be okay to invest
Yep.
and then begin at a point.
At a
Okay.
point. I had a guy come back the other day he'd done the PDC first, he did that, and then he came back 5 years later. He said, I'm ready to do the teaching bit now. That's fine. Yes. So there is the thing that would change though would be the hive. So you've got 12 months in hive. So they might just, and you can renew that. So there's a way to renew that and continue on to be part of that if you find it useful. Because I think the idea with the stop start is that, yeah, you just make it fit around your world. If you've got something busy going on, and so that's why the course is in those modules in the very structured, logical flow so that you can make your way through it. The live sessions in Hive are dynamic. And so anytime you want to, you can come in, you can see about design or education, and you might not be there yet, but you might get inspiration for what's coming, or you might be ready and you can come in and teach someone else. And so I've really tried to use all of my systems thinking, understanding to be able to design a system that holds all of that. So yes, is the answer to that question, Svea. Yeah.
And one quick add-on, is there an interconnection between this and the Ethos Foundation Youth Fellowship?
Yes.
That's about to start also in February. Because
Yes.
I'm looking at both of those and then thinking
Okay.
this
Well,
is too much.
So Fritjof Capra, who has been someone who's been a mentor of mine for many decades, I work very closely with him, and his course and our course are interconnected. So there's people can get discounts on either one. But I also host a youth program that connects Fritjof Capra's course with the permaculture mentoring. So it's kind of like a yeah, a combination. And so that's a free program for people between the ages of 16 and 25. So I donate my time to that, and Fritjof donates his courses to that, and together we make that available. So that's something that's hosted by the Permaculture Education Institute in partnership with Fritjof. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I have more questions, but I'll send you an email.
Okay, great. So, and if you want to book in a chat time as well, I'll just bit.ly Morag chat. There, that's how to find a spot to, if anyone wants to, Svea, or anyone wants to come and have a chat. Oh, I'm so excited to see you, Svea. How wonderful. All right, Tanisha, I'm a teacher in the UK and also studying master. So everything you're discussing deeply resonating. I don't think I'm percent to sign up in the next 7 days, but something I'd like to explore next week. Okay, sorry, you're just writing to me. Okay, great. Well, it's there's always going to be something happening at the Permaculture Education Institute, but this collection of all these things is only available until that time. Yeah, so if you wanted to start, if you wanted to grab all these things while they're here, you can, like Svea was saying, you can sign up now, but you can also, I have a 3 month plan, but also a 6 month plan is available. And some people have asked me for a 12-month payment plan, which I can activate if that makes it doable. So if that helps, so just so you get started, and then anytime in the next whatever long you want to start, you can do that. So that's also another option, just to toss that out there. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Hello, Stella. Haven't seen you for a long time. Oh my gosh, where are you? Where's your beautiful face? I can see your red skirt. Ah, lovely.
Oh, so much more. You know why?
Oh, hello. Yes, Stella and I have worked a long time ago with projects in Uganda. Lovely to see you there. All right. Well, if there's no more questions here in the session, I see we're almost at the top of the hour anyway, so that's kind of perfect timing. But do feel free to write to me anytime. And if you're part of this program already, and because I think there are some people here who already are, and you'd like to find out, if you just started and you're not quite sure how to start, or if you started ages ago and there's something new that's come in and you're not quite sure, then yeah, always feel free to just get in touch with me. This is what I do with my life. This is what my heart and soul goes into, and I'm very, very honored, delighted that you decide to come and join me here today. So thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing some of you in the future, I hope. Take care, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye
Thank you.
Yes, Morag.
bye.
Bye. Bye,
Yes,
Stella.
Morag.
Yeah, hi, Stella. There you are. I see you now.
Thank you.
We should catch up again soon. And hello, Priscilla. I see you too. Lovely to see you.
Oh, yes. We are working on a
Meet you
proposal
two
to do
today.
a relation between permaculture and nutrition in the refugee settlement.
I heard that. I was chatting to Rolanda the other day and she mentioned your
Oh,
name.
yes.
So, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So
So
we are
great.
moving on in Uganda, and we really hope to have all these permaculture activities being published, because in most cases we end up having it within our hubs, maybe the association only having it, but I think it's the highest time we need to have these publications in the scientific world
Mm.
for reference, because permaculture is really doing great work.
Yeah, so just
Yes.
anyone who's still here who's listening, Stella and Anne-Marie and Roland as a team are trying to document the impacts of permaculture in refugee settlements on nutrition, and actually getting, because it often happens so informally, as most permaculture ever done in the world. It just goes people to people around the world. But what they're trying to do is actually go and have a look at that and then document and share it out. So, perhaps that's a way of getting further and deeper support for more permaculture projects in these parts of the world. But just to say that too, if anyone, and I know some of you have, and I'm absolutely so grateful. If anyone would like to be a supporter of the Ethos Foundation, we always send 100% to the projects. And then we have those forums within the sessions too, where you can come and meet with different people doing this work. Please do get in touch. I'm always looking for people who would like to support it, because as you know, if anyone's in the fundraising world, it's a challenge. And there's always way more projects than are ever available. Available funds for. So, yeah, that would be great. All right. Great. I'm glad to see Alana is excited too. Thank you, Wendy. It's really, really lovely that you've been able to join. All right. Thank you, Antonella. See you, Svea. And I'll catch up with all of you soon. Okay. Bye.